Hey guys, I guess you all know the biggest two beverages in the world. Yes, I'm talking about Coca-Cola and Pepsi. We are going to cover the principal sectors of these two brands, starting with the brand image, secondly the historical achievements, then the marketing strategy, the sales and the incomes, and finally titles and awards. For each sector, the best brand will get some points. I hate the boring introductions, so let's dive in. Let's get started with the brand image. Firstly, the logo. The Coca-Cola logo is recognized by 94% of the world's population. So if you are watching this video and you are one of that 6% who doesn't know what the hell is this logo, just let me tell you that Coca-Cola is a soft drink created in 1886 by the chemist John Pemberton. Okay then, let's continue with the famous Coke's logo. It hasn't changed much since 1886. The most noticeable addition is the wave that was included in 1969. On the other hand, the Pepsi logo changed 11 times during the 122 years. It was Pepsi Cola, but the cola dropped in 1960. I don't like when a company changes its logo a lot. It feels like they don't have confidence in the brand. And I will never understand why a company would spend millions and millions to simply tweak the logo to make it hip and edgy. Guys, do you know that this logo cost the company $1 million? It's true, it does look modern and cool, but I find that the previous logos look better. So the legendary Coca-Cola logo gets 1 point. Secondly, the packaging designs. The Coke bottle shape is as famous as its name, but no one can recognize Pepsi bottle if there are no logos on it. But when it comes to the creativity of the can's design, definitely, Pepsi is the best. In 2007, Pepsi redesigned its cans for the 14th time, and for the first time, including more than 30 different backgrounds on each can, introducing a new background every 3 weeks. But what if these two brands were humans? I think the Coke person has to be a rich old American, classy and serious. He could be also a boring, nostalgic person, but definitely, he loves his family. I assume the girls will fall in love with him so easily. Also, I imagine the human Pepsi version young, cool, trendy. He loves the music and he is so friendly but sometimes mean, and you will know why later. I hope you are getting the idea of the video so far. Next are historical achievements. Both companies were created in the 1800s, so obviously they have some remarkable achievements. The Coca-Cola Company is the longest continuous sponsor of the Olympic Games, beginning its sponsorship in 1928, and it will be extended until 2020. Coca-Cola has great relationships with global sports events such as the FIFA and the Rugby World Cup, also the Formula One World Championship. Through my research, I found that Pepsi plays smartly. In 1936, the Pepsi-Cola Company entered bankruptcy during the Great Depression due to the huge increase in the price of sugar. So they released the 20-ounce bottle with a very cheap price. Due to this, they gained great popularity and Pepsi became the drink of the poor, and obviously, the profits doubled. During the World War II, the Coca-Cola Company was already an empire. It became the symbol of America. They exported successfully the healthy America image. At that time, the Coke wasn't just a product but a style of life. Also in 1941, thousands of US citizens were sent overseas. To show support, Coca-Cola ordered that every man in uniform gets a bottle of Coca-Cola for 5 cents, wherever he is and whatever it costs the company, and that was very kind of them. At that time also, the famous Fanta was created. It originated as a cola substitute as a result of difficulties importing Coca-Cola syrup into Nazi Germany. Due to that, the head of Coca-Cola in Germany decided to create a new product for the local market, using only ingredients available in Germany at the time. Few years after that, in 1950, Pepsi did an intelligent move by hiring the previous director of Coca-Cola, Alfred Steele, and his wife, the beautiful Joan Crawford, did a great change in the brand image of the company. They took Pepsi from the kitchen to the living room. Because at that time, people used to buy the cheap Pepsi. They put the soda into glasses, then hide the bottles so they could present it to guests as Coca-Cola. So he advertised Pepsi as a classy product for the first-class people. In 1959, Coca-Cola refused to participate in the first American trade exhibition ever held in the Soviet Union, but Pepsi was there. Anyway, it's a long story, but the buzz, it was when Nikita Khrushchev tasted Pepsi Cola drinks. Photographers were there, so you can imagine the newspapers' headlines the day after that. Of course, Pepsi took advantage of that. Khrushchev became an unofficial ambassador for the company, and few years after that PepsiCo won a big deal and it became the first soft drink to be sold in the Soviet Union. Pepsi continued its success by creating the first diet soda ever in 1965, and if you were wondering about Diet Coke, it was created 17 years later in 1982. By the end of 1972, Coca-Cola Company was already dominated the South Africa, Australia, and China markets. In the 70s, Pepsi really rocked it by inventing the first plastic bottle. An inventor named Nathaniel Wyeth developed a bottle made of polyethylene terephthalate, which was lighter than glass, wouldn't shatter if dropped, and wouldn't contaminate its contents. At that time also, Pepsi was like a monster, so in 1975 they introduced the Pepsi Challenge marketing campaign, where PepsiCo set up a blind tasting between Pepsi Cola and rival Coca-Cola. During these blind taste tests, the majority of participants picked Pepsi as the better tasting of the two soft drinks, so Pepsi gets 3 points for the idea to challenge Coca-Cola, for the boldness and for the success. The 1980s was a particularly exciting time for the brand, Coca-Cola becoming the first soft drink to ever be consumed in space. And finally, in 2013, Pepsi released Pepsi Next. It's like the original soda but with 30% low sugar. 2 days later, Coca-Cola Life with the same idea was in the stores with that stupid green packaging. Next, the marketing strategy. I would like to stress that both companies are strong when it comes to the marketing. Guys, do you know that the modern-day image of the human Santa, that friendly and warm person with a white beard, did come from Coca-Cola advertising? The company did the best to show Santa himself and not a man dressed as Santa. In 1932, Pepsi hired a pilot to write the name of various cities in the United States. They wrote approximately 2,225 messages over the United States, Mexico, Canada, Cuba, and South America, so Pepsi was the first company to advertise this way. Also, Pepsi was one of few brands to market to Black American during the segregation and run ads featuring African American models. In 1993, only 1 year after I was born in this freaking life, Coca-Cola started using a lovable polar bear in their advertisements. I love bears and the idea, so they will get a point for that. 11 years later, Coca-Cola started the Share a Coke marketing campaign with over 1,000 names on the shelves and over 500,000 names available on the online store. The reaction to the campaign has been fantastic. All these campaigns are very costly, so both companies spend billions and billions of dollars every year promoting the products to excite the buyers. According to Dividend.com, in 2016, Coca-Cola Company eclipsed the $4 billion mark in worldwide marketing spending, with Pepsi's spending about $2.5 billion. In United States market alone, Pepsi spent about $650 million, however Coca-Cola spent around $250 million. In general, Pepsi focus on musical TV shows and teenagers events. Coca-Cola focuses on sports champions and the big galas like the Oscars. Speaking about the Oscars, in 2015 Coca-Cola became the exclusive soft drink sponsor of the Academy Awards. The Coca-Cola Company spent about $2 million for only 30-second ads for the Coke and the Diet Coke during the broadcast on ABC. A lot of money, guys. Anyway, Pepsi also has a successful marketing and advertising campaigns. They have the greatest famous celebrities ever like Beyoncé, Michael Jackson, and Kendall Jenner. Their ads are sexy, catching and well targeted. On the other hand, the Coca-Cola ads are wiser but boring. And it's really rare when they use celebrities, except for the Diet Coke commercial of Taylor Swift. I have never enjoyed their ads, honestly. Pepsi Diet ads are also good, especially the ads of the sexy Sofia Vergara. Also, Pepsi keeps teasing Coca-Cola all the times in their commercials. Once, they celebrated Halloween with an ad displaying a can of Pepsi in a red Coca-Cola cape, and they said, "We wish you a scary Halloween." Also, sometimes they use Santa or Coca-Cola's workers enjoying drinking Pepsi. Like, how dare them? Actually, it's funny and I love it. Now let's spotlight the products and how much do they sell. The soda sales declined in the last 11 years as customers have been turning to other healthier beverages. That could affect Coca-Cola more than Pepsi because the Coca-Cola's portfolio is 100% comprised of beverages. However, Pepsi's product portfolio is nearly 50-50 between food and beverages. So 1 point to Pepsi for the diversity. As I was saying, PepsiCo has a better variety of brands. It owns about 22 iconic global brands, which are brands that collect at least $1 billion in retail sales every year, like Miranda, Aquafina, and the two widely known snacks, Lay's and Doritos. It also owns Lipton Tea and 7-Up. Even Frappuccinos and other cold ready-to-drink Starbucks products are distributed by Pepsi. I am a Starbucks fan, so 1 extra point for that. For its part, Coca-Cola claims that it has 20 brands that generate $1 billion or more in annual sales. These brands include Fanta, Sprite and the water brand Georgia. So views the valuations of the parent companies very differently. According to Artiste.com, Coca-Cola has a market capitalization of $193 billion and PepsiCo's is almost $165 billion. Also according to Statista.com, Coca-Cola has about 48.6% of the worldwide carbonated beverages market share, and Pepsi has only 25.2%. Things will get a little confusing now because Dividend.com mentioned that in 2016 Pepsi sold about $62 billion and Coca-Cola around $42 billion. So how is that possible? Well, don't be surprised. As I said before, the diversity is Pepsi's strongest weapon. Before we close this chapter, I have to mention that in the US market, Coca-Cola and Diet Coke are the top 2 selling soda brands. Pepsi is the third. But Pepsi has some great warriors like Lay's. It's the #1 snack food brand in the world. And finally, titles and awards. In 2017, Forbes.com valued the Coca-Cola brand at $56.5 billion. It ranked number 5 after Facebook and before Amazon as the world's most valuable brands. Also, it set Pepsi's value at $18.2 billion. It's ranked the 30th before Nescafe and after Gillette. In 2017, Coca-Cola was ranked the 4th in the Best Global Brands list by Interbrand. However, Pepsi was the 22nd. Barron's.com classified Pepsi the 23rd in the world's most respected companies list. The Red and White Flag Company was the 66th. Also according to LinkedIn data, both companies are 2 of the best 40 companies in the world at attracting and keeping top talents. According to the list, Pepsi was the 14th and Coca-Cola was the 9th. And finally, Fortune also has several lists. We highlight the Fortune's Most Admired Companies list, where PepsiCo was the 41st and the Coca-Cola Company was the 18th. Let's finish with some bonus points. Coca-Cola has reported that its name is the second most understood term in the world, behind OK. Coca-Cola also was one of the first companies to sell multi-packs. Pepsi has approximately 250,000 workers. Your country should be proud of you. However, Coca-Cola has the half of that, about 130,000 employees. Pepsi serves more than 10 million stores per week in more than 200 countries. And we all been in that situation when you went to a restaurant and you ask for a Coke. The waiter response generally would be, "Is Pepsi okay?" Well, because they have contracts with the most famous restaurants around the world like KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell, to sell only Pepsi and not a Coke product. So many restaurants changed their contract to serve Pepsi's products, usually because Pepsi offered them lower prices for the syrup, the dispensers and the CO2. Also, the restaurant can have the equipment for free in exchange for agreeing to buy only Pepsi products. As I said before, Pepsi own about 1,000 patents, including one for a tennis racket. They have also the largest commercial fleet of all electric trucks in the United States. Both companies have embraced the digital world as social media gets bigger and bigger, but Coke seems to be faring better thus far. It has about 107 million likes on Facebook. On Twitter, it has about 3.4 million followers. In YouTube, Coke has 2.2 million subscribers. The last point, it would be from me to Pepsi, cause I'm a huge fan of them, so +1 point with big love. This is the end of the video. The winner is Coca-Cola. They deserve it.